going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about some of the craziest new features coming to Black Ops 6 Zombies. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and as a reminder, there's plenty of brand new article coverage going up on dkdynamite.com for those who want to stay up to date with all things Call of Duty. Now, as you guys are likely aware of, about a week and a half ago, select Zombies content creators did get flown out to Treyarch to get their hands on Black Ops 6 a little bit early. They got hands-on with Terminus and got to ask Treyarch a ton of questions. Now, these select content creators, such as Codename Pizza, Mr. Dalek, Lego Unlocked, even Chopper, they also provided exclusive pieces of intel within their videos, which I'm going to fully recap inside of this one, since a lot of these pieces of information were not shared in the Call of Duty blog post, nor did Treyarch mention any of these details over on their Twitter. Now, as of yesterday, I did make a video talking about Augments in Black Ops 6 Zombies, essentially the replacement for the Ethereum upgrade system that we had over in Cold War. Highly recommend checking that video out, but upon analyzing some of these content creators' videos, I did notice a couple of details about augments that I didn't know before. First off, it does look like an augment for brain rot is going to allow you to turn heavy elites into friendly zombies. So that's something that we just didn't know, and of course wasn't mentioned in the blog. But it was also claimed an augment for Juggernog is going to allow you to have Dying Wish, something called Death Sentence, and even Shields Up. That's a minor augment. The major augment for Juggernog, one of them at least, is the ability to also have Dying Wish, something called Armor Smith, and then something like Shields Up, which is like the Gobblegum. So it's cool to know that old perks may come back just in the form of augments through the Black Ops 6 progression path. They also mentioned that the Dark Flare Field upgrade can apparently heal teammates as well. That kind of sounds like you need an augment to have the Dark Flare do that, but it was claimed that apparently augments weren't usable at the play session over at Treyarch next week, so it's unclear if that's just a basic function of the Dark Flare Field upgrade. Maybe that is the case, but something that you guys probably didn't know is that considering multiplayer does feature a dedicated melee slot, I don't think a lot of folks are questioning if whether or not that's also going to be in Zombies, and what do you know, it will be a staple for Zombies, which is crazy. And I also didn't know that the melee Macchiato perk not only gives you Thunder Fist, and obviously you can add some augments to melee Macchiato that we talked about yesterday, but it will also enhance your melee items. So if you decide to bring in a really cool looking melee weapon that you got from a bundle or unlocked for free throughout the year, you could just enhance that weapon so that it's actually viable for some of the higher rounds when drinking that brand new perk. And oh, I almost forgot, Wonder Fizz is also going to make its return here inside of Black Ops 6. It's been in almost every Treyarch round-based Zombies over the last couple of years. Now, something that you might have seen a detonated tweet about, which I actually find pretty fascinating, is the fact that armor vests are now wall buys. This was in the blog post, but the point of the detonated tweet that went out was the fact that it does utilize the Warzone 1 UI, as you'll see in the HUD, and I think there could be some changes made to that. I certainly think Zombies has the potential to have a completely different HUD from what you will see in campaign, multiplayer. I understand the consistency of keeping a relatively familiar HUD for players that maybe aren't too invested in Zombies. It'll look familiar to them so that they could, easily pop over to Zombies from their long session of MP or Warzone. I get that argument as well, but I think without a doubt we'll end up seeing some improvements to how everything is laid out, and we'll talk more about the HUD and especially Gobblegums in a separate video, because there's a lot more I want to discuss that won't fit into this one. But something that for some reason they've changed here is the fact that when you walk past armor plates, unlike Cold War, you're going to have to manually play up, similar to Modern Warfare Zombies, and of course similar to Warzone. This is also something that I could totally see them changing once they get some fan feedback during the launch window, because right now I think that it is technically a step back from Cold War, because in that game, if you just walked over plates, your armor would fill up on your health, which was perfect. So the fact they're walking back on that is a bit strange, but let's just wait and see what ends up happening there. I do like the idea that armor vests are now a wall buy though, instead of having to go to an armor station to spend salvage. Now, creators did confirm that apart from the usual power-ups while playing Zombies, there will also be player-specific power-ups that will drop, granting players with extra armor plates, ammo reserves, and even more. Now, amongst one of the biggest announcements that we now have more context about, thanks to a lot of these content creators' videos, is the fact that Black Ops 6 Zombies doesn't support theater mode because it supports another feature that, in my opinion, is much more important. I actually forgot and was reminded by Fajardi on yesterday's podcast that Cold War Zombies also didn't support theater mode for the entire year. It was only available in multiplayer, and I completely forgot about that, so I guess it kind of makes sense that Black Ops 6 will likely do the same thing because of the feature that we're about to talk about. But this feature also explains why you always have to be online when playing Black Ops 6. This was a piece of criticism that I saw online over the last couple of months. People were like, wait, why do you always have to be online? What about local casual play and offline users totally get the importance of appealing to everybody, but this feature right here, I think really explains why they made this decision. So the ability to save and quit is only available in solo, and you can only save one match at a time. Now, pausing is also available. They, however, have not clarified if there'll be a server pause when you're playing co-op. That hasn't been explained yet, but there is a temporary save that is also created at the end of each round. This ensures that if you for some reason disconnect, if your game crashes, your internet goes out, you can actually resume progress on that solo match at any time. Now, it's cool because your Easter egg status in the match that you were in, your Pack-a-Punch level, your armor, all of that will be saved and resumed when you go back and click on that save file. Now, they are also working on what else is going to save temporarily at the end of each round and when you manually go ahead and save a match, but it was made very clear that you have to be at full health, you can't be dead or actively engaged in an exfil for you to successfully save a match. It's also cool how they're overhauling the leaderboard system a little bit, where if somebody gets to a high round because they use the save feature on solo, it's going to indicate that on the leaderboard. So you're not going to be questioning whether or not somebody made it to level 1000 because they saved the match over a long period of time. Now, what's important to note is that you only have one slot across all maps combined. So even if Black Ops 6 Zombies ends up offering 10 different round-based maps at some point, you can only save one match at a time throughout your entire account. Now, what is really interesting though, which I didn't see many folks talking about, is that if you save one match of solo zombies, you can leave that match saved and jump into another game of zombies, either on solo or on co-op. The only thing is, if you jump into another solo game while you have another one saved, it'll ask you when you start that new match if you want to override your save file and start recording this new one, or do you just want to play without that save feature in the new match? Because let's say, for example, you have a round 50 game saved on your account, but you want to just run a solo Easter egg on a different map or that same map, you can go do that, but you're going to have to choose if you want to save that round 50 save while playing in a fresh match that isn't recording, or do you want to erase that round 50 save and start recording a new solo game. Hopefully that's clear. And I think the cherry on top to all of this is that when it comes to co-op, you can also join a friend's match of zombies no matter how far they are in that specific zombies match. So if they're on round 75, if they're at the last step of the Easter egg, no matter what they're doing, you can join their game. And the cool thing is, to avoid, I think, an annoyance, which I think we've all experienced at least a couple times in the last couple of zombies titles, if a player does randomly join you, the players that are actively in that match have to vote to allow that player to join their game. So this is perfect for the integrity of an important game of zombies. Now, another brilliant update with Black Ops 6 is the option to keep playing your match after beating the main quest. If you guys remember in Cold War, whether it was round-based or Outbreak, whenever you finished an Easter egg, your game would forcibly end, right? You'd get a cutscene of some sort, you'd exfil, and your game would be over. Now, we did see in Black Ops 3 a number of times the ability to keep playing that round-based map after the Easter egg had been completed. I think it was only, Revelations where your game ended, and then in Black Ops 4, everybody's matches ended, but they're bringing back the fact that you can keep playing after the quest is completed. They also confirmed they're going to be rewarding us in ways like never before with these Easter eggs. So they've already announced that each Easter egg has unique map rewards, and I think a bit of a slideshow was shown at the studio last week of what these rewards were, but all the rewards were redacted except for one. The one reward they were able to see at the studio was apparently a wonder weapon skin that you get by completing the Easter egg in standard mode. You're also going to be getting a bonus calling card for completing the Easter egg before the guided mode ends up releasing later in that season. So what I'm first going to address is the fact that they've announced so many rewards for beating an Easter egg, it's unclear if you get all of them upon your first completion or your only one, or will it work like the raids in Modern Warfare 2 where you have to keep beating the same quest or experience over and over again until you've unlocked all the rewards, and maybe it's random where you're guaranteed one of the rewards in that loophole by beating the quest, or there's an order in which you get them, kind of like how the DMZ weapon cases work. But that's a good segue here. They're introducing a guided mode into Black Ops 6 Zombies. They've already confirmed they're going to be working on ways to incorporate this feature without the worry that data miners are going to force load their way into it when the standard version of a map releases, because that would be catastrophic if people could force load their way into a guided version of a round-based map before the Easter egg's been solved by the community. Now, this guided mode isn't going to release whenever a new round-based map does. It'll be several weeks after, but it's going to offer full guidance through the main quest. It is very quest-oriented. There will be no side Easter eggs enabled in this guided mode, and there's a round cap of 15. So I think it's a guarantee that certain steps have to be completed on certain rounds. It's going to tell you what you actually have to do. And I think a good point brought up to me by lead writer on Detonated, Taco, is that I think the guided mode is really going to emphasize how the studio wants us to complete a step instead of maybe how it was completed when the standard mode got solved. So it just reminds me of some old Easter eggs like Die Rise, for example, with pretty complicated steps that to this day are still considered pretty confusing for a majority of the community. This guided mode is really going to emphasize how Treyarch designed the step and exactly how they expect the community to actually complete it. Now, if you guys are wondering why this exists, they're considering it a training wheels type of mode, and they confirmed for us that the number of people who've completed main quests in Zombies is smaller than what they would like it to be, and that's crazy considering how accessible Cold War really was. D Machine, I think, is the most completed main quest of all time in Zombies history, and even with that fact, other maps like Firebase, the Outbreak quest, Mauer, Forsaken, still were not completed by a majority of the community, even though those were much easier quests than what we saw in games like BO3, even BO4. So I think that puts a rest to the whole argument, oh, Cold War was too easy. Well, apparently not if folks still weren't doing the main Easter egg. So that's what this mode's all about. Now, some other rapid fire exclusive pieces of intel, just for those that are curious, there is the ability to share the cost of a door. So that's gonna be reflective on the scoreboard, seeing how much a player contributed to the opening of several doors in a match, and those will also probably be on leaderboards as of later. There's no menu when you actually access the Pack-a-Punch machine. They got rid of the whole knuckle animation, which I'm totally cool with because you can easily die when doing that. That's definitely a risk. Doesn't really bother me at all, doesn't change anything about the gameplay. The pap camos also look great from the footage that we've seen. Ammo mods are now available in arsenal machines that you use salvage to actually acquire, and an arsenal machine will tell you if you have enough salvage to actually acquire something from the machine itself. Tactical rafts can also be summoned on demand. You can use boat spawners at different points of interest, and in the water you'll notice a tentacle beast. It's unclear if this is the main boss of Terminus. Maybe it's just a heavy boss that will just be there. Maybe this boss is there to avoid people going AFK in the water for long periods of time. Not sure if you can fully kill it or not, but I think what's great to really wrap up this video is the fact we're going to be seeing game over outros. You got a little cinematic when you die off in a match of Black Ops 6 Zombies, detailing how exactly you died, showing you that exact zombie that actually killed you. It'll probably be in a bit of a third-person perspective, similar to what we're also going to be seeing in multiplayer through the death cams. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. This video, for the most part, went over just about every piece of exclusive intel that was shared by creators over the last couple of days. I'm saving Gobblegums and a few other minor things about Wonder Weapons for a separate video, of course, but leave our thoughts down below. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.